First, let's start with the tournament.
The madness is back.
Yes, indeed. We had the round of 64 as well as the round of 32. The first weekend has concluded. Few brackets have been busted. Number one seed has been dispatched, has some great individual performances. So congratulations to both Michigan and Michigan State for advancing to the Sweet 16. Michigan got wins over Howard University Bison. Shout out to the HBCU and St. Louis Bilkins on Thursday and Saturday, respectively, while the Michigan State Spartans posted wins over the North Dakota State Bison and the Louisville Cardinal also on Thursday and Saturday, respectively. Michigan moves on to face an Alabama team that bolsters the number one offense in the nation, and Michigan State will face UConn, obviously a team with a great championship pedigree. Both teams play Friday. What are the keys to victory in their respective matchups? And who's more likely to advance, in your opinion, man? Would say the people's champ.
Well, I mean, I'm going to keep saying it with Michigan, especially when it comes to the tournament. When you have a unique player and a tool like a Daimara,
Yeah.
I mean, he's the key.
Yeah.
He just changes the complexion of the game. Maybe not to the degree that Anthony Davis did back in, what was that, like 2012 or something like that.
Yeah.
Right? But similarly, just with his length, what he's able to do even on the offensive end, he can keep the pressure on Alabama even on the other end with his improved offensive game. If we can continue to just shoot the ball well, the shooting has been exceptional in the tournament, which is good to see because, towards like maybe those last 5 or 6 games of the regular season, it was getting a little shaky there. Like, oh man, did we empty our clip too early?
Yeah.
But it's looking like they're settling to what their average was throughout the season when it comes to shooting the ball. But I mean, Michigan, they look really good, man.
Yeah.
It's hard, because St. Louis offensively, they're traditionally a very good team offensively.
Absolutely, yep.
To your point with Alabama, they like to get up and down.
Yep. They play a fast pace.
They're very athletic on the perimeter. But I like the fact that with Michigan, we have athleticism and length. I mean, even, at our guard and our wing spots. I mean, you look at Jackson Lundenberg, he can guard 3 positions.
Yes, absolutely.
And then offensively he can play 3 to 4 positions.
Yep.
And then you look at Morris Johnson, another guy defensively that can guard, the post, the pivot, go out on the perimeter. I mean, so I think that'll help us out against Alabama. As for Michigan State, well, it's hard to bet against Tom in March.
Yeah.
I think it's going to come down to tempo and shot making in this particular game, which honestly I think is to Tom's advantage.
Yeah, I mean, right. I think that we need to play fast against them, and we got to take care of the basketball. That's my first, second, and third point. Ball security, and ball security. Because I think that we have the advantage over them in that way. Because we do a pretty good job defending the three-point line anyway, and I think they've only made 12 threes so far. They've struggled from behind the three-point line. And so, the way to get well is not to play a Michigan State team that does a pretty good job of defending the three-point line anyway. So as long as we defend the rim, which we do reasonably well, and we push the ball, create some easy opportunities for ourselves, I think that's really the key for us. I think that Michigan, their key is to control the pace. We were just talking about that off the air. Good teams make the other team play their style.
Yep.
And, I mean, Michigan is also a top 10 offense. I think that Michigan is a better defensive team than Alabama. Like, if you ask me who I thought had the better chance to win, oddly enough, I think Michigan State does, because I think Alabama can get hot, but I think they both will win. I would pick them both to win those games. I have, as a matter of fact, when I filled out my bracket. I picked both Michigan and Michigan State to advance to the Elite Eight, because I do think, and these are the matchups I picked them to win. I picked Michigan State to beat UConn, and I picked Michigan to beat Alabama. Because I think that Michigan will control the pace because they're more talented than Alabama.
Yeah.
And they'll force Alabama to play their game more than Alabama will force them to play theirs.
I think what people sometimes, I don't want to say miss, but I think with Michigan, when they get going, I think you kind of can easily lose sight of the fact that they're physical.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and they play great defense.
And, you know, the size is sometimes deceptive because they are really athletic and they move fast.
Yes.
You know, they scatter.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, they do. Yeah. They defend, and they you know, when the ball starts to whip around, I think they do a good job because they're athletic of getting around, because they're going to need to defend the 3-point line because Alabama has made 31 threes so far. So they are a good 3-point shooting team. But again, so is Michigan. And Michigan, again, will, because they're more talented, I think they'll run them off the 3-point line. And then tomorrow, like that you pointed out, you know, he's so long in there, he gives you very few places to go once you get into the paint. So, you know, I because I expect Michigan State to play very much the same way, funneling everything into the paint.
Yep.
But then again, you know, UConn's only shooting 26.5% from three in the tournament. So Tom may, you know, like, and I say that, and I'm probably jinxing this because they probably get, you know, they'll be on fire from three.
I'm about to say we might get an old school, late in the shot clock, back and forth chess match.
That and you know, and I like that because we got Fears and he runs the offense pretty well.
Yeah, he does
in the half court. So, you know, I don't mind that either. I do think we need to get some easy baskets against you because UConn, they're going to be well coached. They're going to play well. They're going to take away the things that we like to do. They're going to try to control the tempo, you know, somewhat because they know we're going to want to get up and down a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I do think that both Michigan and Michigan State will advance to the Elite Eight.
Man, they
got a good feeling about that.
Yeah, they could be on a bigger collision course.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
And that would be bananas.
Oh man, listen, man, that would the state would just implode.
Oh my Lord.
But no. So we're gonna be looking out for that. And then before we get to previewing some of the games that are coming up. I want to talk about some of the upsets over the weekend as we just continue to look back. Several lower seeds upset higher seeds over the weekend. In the opening round, number 11 Texas upset number 6 BYU, number 6 seed BYU. Every 9 seed actually upset every 8 seed, if you want to call those upsets. Yeah. TCU beat OSU. It's always great when Ohio State loses.
Great.
Iowa beat Clemson. Of course, we talked about St. Louis. They absolutely destroyed Georgia in that 8-9 matchup. Yeah. And, of course, Utah State beat Villanova. 10 seed Texas A&M. They beat the 7 seed St. Mary's. 12 seed High Point. They upset 5 seed Wisconsin.
Right.
But the only one that I really want to talk about is number 11 seed Virginia Commonwealth knocking off number 6 seed North Carolina.
Yep.
I want to talk about that one for a couple of different reasons. Yep. Number one is Hubert Davis. He was let go as the North Carolina men's basketball coach as of today.
Did he thank his wife on the way out?
Yeah, those were some bizarre comments. That will go down as one of the more bizarre moments in his coaching tenure. That's as of today, Wednesday, March 26, 2026. Number two is the manner in which they lost, blowing a 19-point lead, then eventually losing in overtime by 4 points. So let me ask the people's champ, was Hubert Davis's firing justified in your opinion? Or do you think he should have been given some grace in light of the Caleb Wilson injury? Listen. The people want to hear from the people's champ, man.
The people know what's up if they know me. Fired.
Okay, listen.
Fired. I mean, you can't do that.
Yeah,
you can't.
Yeah,
that can't happen.
Well, yeah.
And I mean, Hubert Davis. Some guys are head coaches. Some guys are assistant coaches.
Yeah.
Do I think Hubert Davis could be a good coach? Yeah. Do I think he could be a head coach? Not of a big program like Carolina.
That's my first sentence. I said if he was doing this at Florida Atlantic or even Oregon State, they would build statues for him.
Yeah.
This is the program of Dean Smith and Roy Williams.
Yeah,
though. This ain't gonna get it, bro. Nah, bro. This doesn't get it done. Yep. Yeah. This is the program of Jordan and Worthy and Perkins, Vinsanity, Sheed, Jameson, and McAdoo. It's one of the most storied programs, and just to sort of chronicle some of his some of his foibles, if you will. And I like Hubert Davis. I don't want to pile on to the guy because he just did get terminated today. But in 2022, the Tar Heels lost the largest lead in NCAA Finals history. In 2023, they had a preseason ranking of number 1, and they were eliminated from the AP Top 25 within 9 weeks. In 2024, they did make the Sweet 16, but that's been followed by 2 first-round exits.
Fired.
Yeah, so it was time for both Hubert Davis and UNC to go in different directions. I will say the Caleb Wilson injury was an unlucky break, no pun intended, but you can't blow a 19-point lead to Virginia Commonwealth and, again, be knocked out in the first round 2 years in a row. That's unacceptable, not at UNC. You can go again. You could go to a smaller college, man.
How many years did he have left on his deal?
That's a good question. I didn't even check his contract. I did not, man. Can you fact check that for us, nephew? See how many years he got left on his deal.
I'm
sure he'll get money, yeah.
And I believe he was on TV before he was hired for.
And I think that
he signed the 5-year contract extension last February, which ran through 2030.
Oh man, Hubert, kick your feet up, man.
Yeah, he made out. But yeah, but I think that he could coach like a Louisiana Tech. He'd be the mayor at Louisiana Tech. You know what I'm saying? Like if he get them into the tournament one time or win the conference tournament a couple of times, he'd be the mayor.
Yeah, man. Whatever he want to do in 2030.
Yeah,
right. Going right ahead. Till then, man, kick your feet up, pour you a drink, and roll up some stank. And live a good life, man. He about to get free money for 4 years.
So let's talk about the upsets in the round of 32 because there's really only one real notable upset there. Obviously, that was
the Gators.
Iowa over number 1 seed Florida. We also, St. John was a 5 and they beat Kansas, who was a 4, but a 5 over a 4 isn't much of an upset. Otherwise, the round of 32 pretty much went as expected. 6 Big Ten teams advanced to the Sweet 16. So let me ask the People's Champ a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
Does that confirm that the Big Ten is and has been the best college basketball conference? Why or why not? Also, will the existence of NIL and the flat out ability to pay players close the competition gap in the coming years, if you believe one exists currently? What say the People's Champ?
I just want to point out as well that Texas did win too, so they're in the Sweet 16.
Oh yeah, yes, yes. They are also in the Sweet 16. Yep. So what say the People's Champ? Big Ten best college basketball conference, and will that competition gap close with the NIL and the ability to pay players? If you believe the gap exists,
I would have to do like a deep dive into what the recruiting is looking like in the Big Ten for like next year to kind of see where they stack up in terms of the top tier programs in the Big Ten. But who are they? As of today, they are, yes, but going forward, it's kind of tough.
I think that's a volatile question. It's more volatile to answer that question in college basketball than it is in college football.
Right.
Because I think on a year-to-year basis, that
It can change.
it changes.
It can change.
Because it wasn't just a couple of years ago that the Big Ten was probably third or fourth best between the Power Four.
Oh, you think in basketball?
Yeah.
No, I think the Big Ten they've been, if not the best, certainly one of the top 2 basketball conferences for a minute. It's been like that for a while. Now,
I'm trying to.
It's been like that for a minute, and I think it's because of the depth of the conference.
Yeah, because when you think about
Yeah,
it,
because Purdue was they was just in the national championship game
they were,
2 years ago.
they were ranked overall number 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the Big
Zach
Ten
Edey was there.
Yeah, the Big Ten been if not the best basketball conference, they've been one of the best basketball conferences.
You got to think, man. Illinois is
Yeah.
always solid.
Yeah, Michigan State always
As
solid.
long as Ivo's there.
Yeah.
Michigan even
They've been up and down a little bit, but they even been solid. They've been a tournament team.
Even Michigan, you can say for the last 15 years it's been a hell of a program.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, no, Wisconsin is always tough. And I think that even with the NIL and the ability to pay players, they'll stay one of the best conferences, in my opinion, because of the depth.
Yeah.
I think it's the fact that because they all have to play each other, that will keep the conference competitive.
And, you have to look at the locale, too. I mean, a lot of the bulk of the Big Ten schools, come from the inception of the conference. And
I was going to say that.
the hotbed for ball players. You look at Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Pennsylvania, even some dogs in Ohio, shout out Jim Jackson. And
I was going to say that, that was a part of what I was going to say, too, because if you look at even the teams that are advancing, they not the new teams. It ain't USC and UCLA. Right. It's the old, like even Nebraska, they've been in the conference for 15 years now. They came in 2011. So,
shout out the mayor.
Right. Yeah, I do think that the competition is what keeps, us slightly more competitive. Like, there are great teams in the other conferences, don't get me wrong, but I just think from top to bottom, the Big Ten is so competitive because they have to always be competitive with one another. So I think that sort of colors the way that they are. Now, it is interesting, though. The X factor is the money.
Yeah, for sure. Because I was going to ask you, you think the main contributor to this reality now with the Big Ten being, one of, if not the best conference for basketball, the money and basically how it has led to the decimation of the traditionally stronger, conferences where you're talking Big East, ACC. Hell, the Pac-10 is not even a thing anymore. You know what I mean?
That's great.
You remember those late night games? Oregon,
most definitely,
USC, and UCLA.
Yeah, right. Like, is Oregon still up there? Do they still exist?
You know what I mean? So
we know their football program is thriving, but that's because of the money,
right?
But it's interesting that you don't hear much from the basketball program anymore. But no, yes. So that's a major X factor, and I shudder for my program because Tom Izzo is so late to the party always. Like, the dude is so resistant to change always. I mean, like, the guy is a tremendous basketball coach. Like, we talked about coaching when we talked about Steve Kerr getting his 600th win. We talked about those nuances of coaching. You know what I'm saying? That teaching. That being a great X's and O's guy. Understanding your team and being able to manage personalities. But this guy is so resistant to change. Like, getting one and done freshman. He fought that for so long, and then even when he started doing it, like, the minutes rotations were weird. He was doing everything to try to keep him in college. Like, man, stop the weirdness, bro. Like he did, like playing Ben Carter over Jaren Jackson very famously in that game against Syracuse in the tournament that cost us the game. I mean, just doing every odd thing possible to sabotage the kid, to try to make him come back for a second year. Like, listen, if you don't want one and dones, don't get one and dones. But if you're going to get them, don't get them and do this. Like, get them and let them play for 1 year and then let them go. Like, he's so resistant to change that I shudder to think how we're going to fare moving forward. And, and I mean, listen, the guy's a legend, so it's not as if you can jettison him from his program. I mean, he's going to coach up the kids that he has. He's going to have them ready.
And I mean, to his defense, I can't believe I'm defending Tom Izzo. I mean, I'll always acknowledge his greatness.
Yeah, no, man, I appreciate it.
But the Cape form is rare. But, to his point, though, a lot of times the one and done, like stockpiling and the one and done guys, it doesn't really pan out.
No, I mean, listen, I thought he always had a point. I'm like, listen, do it your way, but don't
Once you
get
see
the
your
one
way repeatedly doesn't work.
No, but
hop off it.
No, but my thing is, don't try the one and dones and act weird. I'm just like, if you don't do one and dones,
embrace it.
Just say I don't do one and dones. I'm like, if you're a one and done, we ain't do it. But don't bring Miles Bridges and Jaren Jackson and Deontay Davis and then do a weird minutes rotation trying to make them come back for a sophomore. Like,
when they out.
Like, bro, I mean, Miles Bridges actually did come back for a second year, but I'm like, but he did that on his own recognizance, bro. Like, he's going to do that or he's not. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or just tell guys, like, look, I'm not big into the one and done guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you a one and done, you probably ain't going to fit in my program, and that's okay.
Yeah,
and we take our chances.
He's got to realize, and I'm sure he probably does, but to your point, he's just being resistant to it, that he's recruiting junior CEOs, literally.
Bro, I don't know what he realizes, man. And I love Tom Izzo, but I'm at this point, man. Like,
like you say, some
he
people
dug
are just
in, bro.
resistant.
Yes, man.
You got those one old folks that just like hate computers, where they just think like if they go near a computer, they'll just die of radiation exposure. Right. Like it's like 1945 in the first computers.
Yeah, because I mean, like even him complaining about Michigan, he like, well, they paid all them play. Yeah, you can do that now. So what? Like, you pay some players of your own. Like, yeah.
Like, you can do that too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, yes, that's what people do now. It's okay. I'm like, yeah.
The answer is you do it.
That's where I'm at. I'm like, yeah. But I'm so afraid when I hear him say that he going to be like, we don't pay players here. Like, and everybody else going to be paying players and we going to be getting mollywopped.
Man, how many billionaires under 50 and 60 is floating around in the bleachers at these games?
This is what I'm saying. I'm like, man, we got 3 NBA owners that are Michigan State alumni.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm like, man, go holler at them. I say that with the football program too. Like, why is our football program struggling?
That's crazy.
Don't hire nobody. Ask them who they want to hire. Like, go get them in a cabal and be like, hey, who y'all
willing to pay for?
Man. But I digress, man.
But back to what I was saying about the conference.
Yeah.
I think like I said, I think it depends on the year.
Sure. Yeah.
Like the last 2 years, it's been the typical Big Ten, and I'm not saying that the top of the Big Ten will never not be strong. Mm-hmm. I think it's more so the middle and the bottom of the Big Ten. So 2023, 2022, 2021, they went, and I understand that it's a one and done tournament, but the conference went 6-8 in 2023. They went 9-9 in 2022. They went 8-9 in 2021. Mm-hmm. And then 2020 didn't happen. 2019 they had a strong year, and then in 2018 they only got 4 teams in the tournament. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying that the Big Ten won't necessarily be one of the better conferences, especially at the top end, but in this new era of NIL and whatnot, it's just always going to fluctuate.
Yeah,
I feel like at the end of the day, and you never really know what the conference is going to look like top to bottom.
Sure, yeah,
and I think this year is one of those years where you could say that because I don't looking back at Duke, I think people feel like Duke is one of the better teams in the country, and I feel like they earned that, but I don't think the ACC is a top 3 conference.
Of course not. Yeah, no, they not. Yeah,
But-
and that's what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, you definitely gonna have great teams from other conferences. I'm not saying that there's not gonna ever be good teams from well, of course and Florida was great last year. I don't necessarily think the SEC was great last year, but Florida was great. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just talking about the Big Ten from top to bottom, like being probably being the best basketball conference. And it's probably been that way. Yeah, I'm not saying it's been that way for the past decade, but I'm just saying for the past 3 or 4 years, because even with those records that you mentioned, I mean, yeah, like in the 1-game elimination, but like what are most conferences doing? In
I would say when it come down to it, I think looking for consistency wise, I think it's gonna be between the Big 10 and the Big 12 on which conference is the better conference on any given year.
Yes, I agree with that because I actually like the Big 12 too. That's the other conference that I think is really good right now, especially
because they got the other half of the good team.
Yeah, right. They got Arizona and Iowa State and Houston. And yes, that is very true. But man, let's preview some of these games real quick, man. We already talked about Michigan and Michigan State's matchups. Let's talk about the other 6 matchups real quick. We don't have to belabor it, but if you're intrigued by any of these, Duke versus St. John.
Should be a good one.
Big Ten matchup in Iowa versus Nebraska.
Farmageddon.
Right.
The real Farmageddon. Not,
I like
not Iowa State, Kansas. No, that's the one I'm looking for.
Illinois and Houston. And then we got Arizona, Arkansas. Texas versus Purdue. And then Tennessee versus Iowa State. And I'm wondering though, I forget the best player on Iowa State, but he had that injury. He was in the boot, and
He's out.
Is he out?
Yeah,
okay.
But
I like Iowa State's style though.
Oh no, they're like what, the number 1 offense in the country, aren't they?
Yeah, defense. They got a really good defense. They play like the Pistons. They smother you out defensively.
Yeah, because I mean their offensive numbers are good.
Yeah, they're a good offense, but they play great. They pick you up full court. They just pressure the ball all over the place. So yeah, I like Iowa State. And then Rick Barnes, he just chokes, and he always choking in the tournament, it seems like. So I do like Iowa State there. I like Purdue because Texas is just not a very good defensive team, even though they can heat it up offensively.
They got some guns though.
Yeah, man, they heat it up offensively. If they get hot, watch out. I like Illinois over Houston because you know how I feel about Houston. Houston, something is not. It wouldn't surprise me if Houston won. But
yeah, I like Houston in that one.
You do, okay. And then I like Duke over St. John, but that feels like a pick 'em right there too. That feels like a pick 'em because St. John is tough. They sneaky tough. But yeah, and then I don't even, you know what? Iowa got something. They got something. They got a little something about them that I don't know, but Nebraska better be ready to go.
I mean, it's hard.
They shoot the ball well, and they just they shooters seem to have some kind of ice water in their veins.
I mean,
man.
when you knock out a 1 seed, it's it's
Right.
hard to sweat.
Yeah, man.
Anybody else, and I mean, they that game with Florida. I mean, it was competitive just throughout.
It was.
I'm like, okay, they can literally play with these guys.
I felt like Iowa really controlled the game.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, and it was, it was something that kind of catches you by surprise. I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't see this coming. Like I had, the team, the 1 seed that I saw struggling would be Duke.
Was Duke, yeah. And and I hit you up because I'm like, you was right. because they kind of scuffled with Siena. They had the largest halftime deficit.
I mean,
to a 16
Duke's
seed
credit,
ever.
they clawed back, but the Zebras got the assignment too. Like, it was some stuff going on in that second half where they was like, all right, guys, here you go. Bring it on home.
But coming out of the weekend, like after taking a step back from the weekend, I kind of I know Florida's bracket wasn't the toughest, but I think out of the 4 number 1 seeds, I feel like if anyone was going to slip up and fall to a team that they shouldn't have fell to, it probably would have been them.
No, you're right. Something was,
that's speaking with hindsight.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because Iowa seemed to control that game. Iowa seemed to be like if you watch that whole game, Iowa just seemed to be in control.
And I think it's more so the fact that Florida was a good team, but I don't think they was as good as they were last year.
No, absolutely not. Walter
No.
Clayton is not walking
I
through
was
that
about to
door,
say,
baby.
they ain't had Dub C.
Walter Clayton.
I mean, pulling up from hell.
Man, he showed out last year.